Jacobs got a rather lackadaisical start, but now he's into his running. He's being challenged by Van Niekerk and Glaive, but Jacobs pulls away.
Lamont Marcell Jacobs just delivered one of the wildest 100-meter finals in history. In Eisenstadt, Austria, a meeting nobody expected to matter, he produced a run that rewrote where he sits among the fastest men alive. But deep into that final, for a moment, it looked like he wasn't winning at all. This meeting wasn't supposed to be the story of the summer. A silver-level stop, slotted in after the bigger Diamond League circuit had already passed through Rome and Paris, the kind of meeting that usually earns a single line in a results database and nothing more. But the field assembled in Eisenstadt was stacked well beyond what the meeting's status suggested, and Jacobs had already circled it on his calendar as the next step in a season that was starting to feel very different from the last one, because the last few years had been brutal for Jacobs. After winning Olympic gold in Tokyo in 2021 and backing it up with European 100-meter titles in 2022 and again in 2024, he spent long stretches battling injury after injury, unable to consistently break 10 seconds, watching his form slip further from the runner who once stunned the world. Paris 2024 was supposed to be his redemption on the biggest stage of all. Instead, he could only manage a fifth-place finish in the Olympic final, unable to defend his title or challenge for a medal the way he wanted to. It was hard to watch a champion fall short like that. But 2026 has told a completely different story. In Rome, Jacobs ran 9:99, his first sub-10 clocking since that Tokyo final, finishing right behind Noah Lyles. Then in Paris, he backed it up with a 9:96, taking third behind Trayvon Bromell and Lyles in one of the deepest 100-meter fields of the year. Two races, two clear signs that the old Jacobs was coming back. Eisenstadt was the next test, and this time there would be no easing into it. And the field waiting for him, there wasn't small talk. Romel Glaive, Britain's European bronze medalist, was in career-best form and hunting his own breakthrough. Wade Van Niekerk, the 400-meter world record holder and a former world champion at that distance, was testing himself in the flat 100, a genuine threat with elite top-end speed few sprinters can match once they're moving. Yoshihide Kiryu, the man who became the first Japanese sprinter to break 10 seconds back in 2017, was also in the mix, still chasing fast times nearly a decade later. The qualifying round made the danger clear immediately. Heat after heat produced times under 10 seconds, with Glaive himself dipping under 9:90 in his heat alone. This was not a field anyone would cruise through, and the home Austrian crowd, hoping to see their own Marcus Fuchs make some noise on his own turf, sensed they were watching something building toward a serious final. Then came Heat 3, and Jacobs made his intentions known. He got out clean, pulled away through the middle of the race, and crossed the line in 9.84, a commanding, dominant win. Wind-aided, yes, but the manner of it, the ease, the separation from the field, sent a clear message to everyone else in the building. The question hanging over Eisenstadt was simple. If Jacobs looked this good in a heat, almost coasting, what would he do once he was actually pushed? The final answered that question in a way nobody expected. Out of the blocks, Jacobs was slow. Not disastrous, but slow enough that Glaive and Van Niekerk immediately had the jump on him, and slow enough that anyone watching closely could see the concern flicker across his lane. For the first 60 meters, this final did not belong to Jacobs at all. Glaive was flying, driving hard through the middle portion of the race. Van Niekerk, using every ounce of that 400-meter speed endurance that made him a world record holder, was matching him stride for stride, refusing to fade the way pure 400 runners often do when they try their hand at the shorter distance. Jacobs was chasing from behind, and for a moment, it genuinely looked like his statement win in the heat might end up meaning nothing in the race that actually counted. Then, over the final 20 to 30 meters, everything changed. Jacobs found another gear entirely, the kind of top-end speed that separates the merely fast from the truly elite. Where Glaive and Van Niekerk were holding their form, fighting to maintain what they had built through the middle of the race, Jacobs was still accelerating, closing the gap with every single stride and then erasing it completely. By the line, he had done more than catch them. He had blown past both men, winning by roughly a full meter, a gap that is almost unheard of at this level of competition, where races are typically decided by hundredths of a second. The stadium knew immediately that something huge had just happened, even before the clock confirmed it. The number that came up was 9.67. There was an obvious asterisk attached to it. The wind reading was +4. 1 meters per second, more than double the legal limit of 2.0. That means the time will never enter the official record books. But strip away the technicality for a second, because what Jacobs just did defies easy explanation. This was his personal best by a wide margin, and it placed him in territory that only one man in history has ever reached before him. Here is where this run actually sits. Usain Bolt's 9.58, run in Berlin in 2009, remains the fastest 100 meters ever recorded under any conditions, a mark that has stood untouched for close to 2 decades. Bolt's Olympic run of 9.63 in London in 2012 sits second, still faster than anything any other human being has produced. Jacobs' 9.67 in Eisenstadt now slots in as the 3rd fastest time ever run by a human being over 100 meters, in any condition, at any wind reading, in the entire recorded history of the sport. And because Bolt is the only man ahead of him on that list, Jacobs becomes officially the 2nd fastest man alive, a distinction that belonged to Tyson for 18 years. Gay's 9.68 at the U.S. Olympic trials in Eugene back in 2008 had stood as the standard for how far a mortal sprinter could push a wind-aided time. Remarkably, Gay ran that mark with the exact same +4.1 tailwind that carried Jacobs to his own number nearly 2 decades later, as if the two performances were destined to be compared. Behind him, the rest of the field ran times that would headline most meetings on their own. Glaive held on for second in 9.76, a huge time in its own right that got completely overshadowed by what happened ahead of him. Van Niekerk finished third in 9.83, an extraordinary result for a man whose specialty has always been 400 meters, not the flat sprint. Kiryu rounded out the sub-10 finishers in 9.99, still competing with the very best a decade into his career at the top level. Speaking afterward, Jacobs didn't shy away from the wind, but he made clear how much this run meant to him. He said he's improving with every single race this season, and that while conditions in Eisenstadt were extreme, only one man in history has ever run faster than what he just produced. It's hard to argue with that framing. This is now his 4th time-breaking 10 seconds this summer alone, a clip he simply was not hitting a year ago, and a rhythm that looks a lot more like the Jacobs who shocked the world in Tokyo than the one who limped out of Paris. The bigger picture matters here too. Jacobs is 31 years old, at a stage in his career where most assumed his prime had already passed him by. Instead, he's building momentum heading straight into the European Athletics Championships in Birmingham this August, where he'll be chasing something no sprinter has managed since Linford Christie back in 1994, a 3rd consecutive European 100-meter title. If Eisenstadt was any indication of where his form is headed, that record is very much in play, and the rest of the field now has to reckon with a version of Jacobs nobody expected to see again this soon. For now, the wind keeps this 9.67 out of the official books, but Lamont Marcell Jacobs just reminded the exactly what he's capable of, and every rival heading into Birmingham just took notice.